would you do the invocation?
Sure. Everybody stand, please. Join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before thy throne of grace. We ask for your wisdom, your guidance, your peace, and that you lead us in this meeting tonight and make right decisions. Lead us into this holiday spirit. When we approach the holidays, that we have joyful hearts and we remember those who are ill. Take care of us and look after us, Lord. In His name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see here. Mr. Goodman, you're up, sir.
Mayor Blackstone, members of the City Council, honored guests. We wanted to come back with you and talk again about the covered awning to be adjacent to the building out here. I had met with the mayor. The owner of the company was kind enough to send pictures to it. The Friends of Ivanhoe had allocated the money. Our president is right there. We would like to proceed accordingly with having the people come out to meet with the city and furnish any and all information concerning the building, insurance, and this type of thing that they would need to put that structure up.
Do you have pictures that you could show to the council?
Yes, sir.
Pass them around. And while we're passing these around, can you kind of explain what you're wanting to do
The
with?
building would go up
with the-
first, and then the concrete would be added after the building was put up. My wife and I did this very successfully with ours, with a 2-inch slab, and 2 vehicles park under it, and it's never cracked. This would have 3 inches to it, which is right at three yards of concrete, 8 by 20 by 3 inches is roughly 3 yards of concrete. You would have bar in there, and you would have the mesh, and I'll provide the mesh and the rebar that would go in it. If we put it perpendicular to the building directly out, that's one way, or it can go parallel to the structure, is another. But the first thing is to see if because it is city property, and it's permanent. So I want to make sure that the city is, I'd like it to be 100%. I know there's always a good reason for someone to abstain and play devil's advocate. It's safer that way. But if we all agree that this is something that will really benefit for the use of the building, people will be able, whatever they can do in here, they can go out here. In the last 90 days, we've had 3 reasons why that building would be necessary. Halloween, there were 2 put up covers, and right here yesterday we had people cooking right out here on the grass. They would be able to do that over here. And at Christmas time, during the summertime, when this is ever leased out to a wedding or anything like that, that can be used. It just adds to the use of the venue.
What would the color of the roof be? Is it galvanized, or is it have you selected a color of the?
There's any number of colors. She did not tell me that there was that the coloring was more expensive.
Mhm.
Okay. I would like a brown color.
When I talked to them, they said that the roof would be a slate gray, and then the trim would be a sandstone, kind of like the color of the building.
Does that match our roof? I don't know what our roof here looks like.
I don't,
Gray? Okay. I think that we asked this question the last time. Do we know what's under the ground there? That's where this is going? Do we need to do any testing for lines as far as electrical or anything else there from anybody's knowledge of what's there? Where it's going, what it's going over?
I don't have any idea, CD. You were here when,
Before my time when they constructed this, all I know is that the turnoff valve is the other side of the IPOA building, but it comes around and comes in from the parking lot side. How it feeds here, I'm not sure.
okay.
Is that the water line you're speaking of, CD?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the only thing I think we need to know, in my opinion. I mean, in my opinion, that's a question that we need to answer, is what's underneath there. Not that it stops us from doing it, but we need to know what's there before we.
Certainly.
You kind of can make a decision on, at least know what's going underneath there if you have any repairs that have to be done.
Yeah, that would be my only concern too, is just utilities.
And if you hadn't had maintenance, that you've had to do that in 15 years, how long have you been here, CD? You haven't had any repairs that required anything in that area, right? So there's likely not anything that's significant.
Yeah, and there was no issue when the sidewalk was installed, so, or laid, or whatever terminology you want to use, so.
Is there any concern about the aesthetics?
I like the idea of having something, we have a lot of events that are around this area, and I think having some kind of outdoor cover is nice, so,
My only concern is that it's appealing and adds value to the city hall.
Mm-hmm.
That it goes in conjunction with what we have going on now. It doesn't look like it's an add-on, but part of the building. That's my concern. I'm not against it, I think it's a good idea, but how we put it up, where we put it up, and we make it pleasant for everyone to see. Now, where that particular spot is, I'm not sure, but that's mine.
So are y'all wanting to move forward and try to figure out the most likely place for it? Or the most,
I think personally, if we could stake out some areas and put some proposals and have like a plot where you actually just kind of put the building on it and associated with the other buildings where we can look, or either way it's stakes or paint or whatever makes sense.
yeah, I'd ask for markers to be put out to kind of outline where it's at.
So you can visualize it and take pictures or whatever to where you can review. I think that's what I'd kind of like to see, and I think we could visualize it more if we saw
Absolutely.
that. But at the same time you're doing that, it kind of gives you an idea of what's going underneath it too.
Yeah,
I can get on board with that thought.
Instead of using a stake to where someone could trip over it, could we possibly use a spray paint?
sure,
that
sure.
they use?
Spray paint, I was thinking those wire markers with the little flag, but spray paint would be
Yeah.
better.
We've already had someone that tripped over a pine cone with us. I didn't want anything permanent. I mean,
Yeah.
a stake or anything like that they could do. But gentlemen, I did not want anyone to think that I was rushing this or anything.
So are we in agreement to kind of pick out a spot and mark it and see how?
I make a motion that we move forward with the review of a location to put this building along, that outlines the boundaries of the building, and allows us to be able to both review what goes under the building and how it will relate to the rest of the buildings around City Hall.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Goodman.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll get back with the mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Vonderland?
Good evening, council.
Good evening, sir.
I want to bring up a few things against Dept being here. The drainage out here is bad. The garage sale, we always have it out here. That's going to be in the way of bringing stuff in and out. People cook over on this side and there's electric power over here. To me, it needs to be over there where people, like the fire department, can be underneath it and cook. And the last thing is, Friends of Ivanhoe never approved that. We told Jim to go get prices and come back. I've yet to hear a final cost. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Did you sign up?
No.
What do you want?
I just wondered, as long as you're making this, could there be like more than one location set up to take a look at?
Sure.
That's all.
Yeah, that was in the motion.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the regular council meeting from October the 19th?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So now, I want to talk about the $11 million grant a little bit. We got all of the appraisals came in. IPOA was unhappy with some of the numbers. They came in lower than anticipated. We've gone back and forth with the appraiser. IPOA found some material descriptions in the language that were inaccurate. So I took those exceptions back to the appraiser, and he said that he would gladly adjust the language, but it would not change the numbers of the appraisals that came in. I had been talking with Randy Frieder. Randy and I have been working together on this for months with the parks and the properties that are going to be purchased. His concern was that with Camelot Park, taking that sliver of road was going to consume the parking area for that park. It's going to, the value that I think that the appraisal was $1,000, but we're going to be damaging that park, and I'd asked him to put together some numbers and a compelling argument for additional monies to be able to clear out the underbrush, expand the park area, and make it a nice place for the people on the northwest side of the city to be able to use. IPOA decided not to move forward with that, so Will and I sat down and spoke about it and decided that to be a good neighbor and to be fair, it's not, these acquisitions are not intended to cause IPOA additional expense. So we want to throw $5,000 additional money into that acquisition to cover the cost of moving their parking lot. They have to pull up all of the telephone poles that they used as a boundary. And there's a great deal of underbrush that has never been cleared out over there, and we'll be turning part of the park into a parking lot. So I think the right thing to do is to offer them an additional $5,000. I think I could have done that on my own, but I wanted to put that before the council to be transparent so that everybody could see what we're trying to do.
Mr. Merritt, what amount of money is allocated to the procurement of properties today and the funds from
It's $780,000 was set aside for property acquisitions, and right now, all 10 properties were appraised at $118,000.
Is that 780,000 earmarked to only land purchase, or can it be used for other things in the project?
It can be used for other things. We can get extensions on roads as long as it's being used in within the guidelines of the grant.
Okay.
So
So it's a budget.
it's a number that was included in the grant for property acquisitions,
Okay,
and it's part of the $11.4 million.
understood.
But the properties that we're going to be purchasing, in addition to this, at Lake Tristan, they were going to have to move the boat ramp to another portion of the slough there, and it's not a good location because it's a steep hill. So I had the engineers, we talked with them, and when they put the 5-foot culverts and raised the road 5 feet going around to Tristan Dam, they're gonna put a road down on the side of those culverts that comes and leads up to where the current boat ramp is and the parking area. It's gonna be those square cement blocks to help with erosion and the likes. And we're buying that also. That'll be city property. We'll be able to maintain that. Shouldn't be any cost to maintain it.
So what restrictions or responsibilities do we have to the budget or procurement amount, or let's say the appraisals, to abide by those or to offer more? Are there legal requirements for us to be able to abide by those appraisals, or what flexibility do we have to increase our offer for that property?
We can increase the offer, but it has to be a reasonable and a compelling argument behind it. We can't just willy-nilly go and say, I'm gonna give you, we've got this amount of money, we'll give this to you.
Yeah.
We can't do that. But with regard to Camelot, there's a compelling argument that goes with that.
Yeah, I just
To
don't know
keep
if
them-
5,000 is enough.
Yeah.
Necessarily, but I mean, what responsibilities, or how do we allocate the proper amounts and stay within whatever responsibilities we have to the grant?
5,000.
be able to do that.
They'll be getting $6,000 total for that little sliver of property. I've said that the monies that are paid for that particular property must be used for Camelot Park.
I didn't know if 8,000 made sense, or what. I don't know how we
Randy,
came up with 5,000, or is it an ability to give them more to be able to do more with that park? If we wanted them to, within the lands of the grant?
Yeah, perhaps. That's a possibility. Right now, we're just talking, I haven't been able to get any feedback from them. They've not offered any feedback other than we'd like to be able to clear this out. 5,000, 8,000. 5,000's better than 1,000.
Yeah. I just didn't know if we could outfit the park, give them enough money to outfit that park some way with the
It would
monies
be
as
the-
well, if that stayed within the terms of the grant, to be able to possibly give them more money to actually outfit that park nicer than it is today.
Well, I can't get any feedback from them on it.
Okay.
Would that 5,000 be earmarked specifically for that park? They're not allowed
That's
to
what
use
I've,
it?
that's what
Okay.
I've said.
Okay,
So there'll be $6,000 for that sliver of land,
in the park, and that'll
and
be-
then they could use that money to, at least the 5,000 would need to be earmarked specifically for Camelot Park.
And Mr. Mayor, what formula was used to come to 5,000 specifically?
Talking with Randy Friedrich and what the estimate was of getting the properties cleared based on his experience in doing similar type work.
Right,
Bringing
perfect.
in what do you call those machines? Big mulchers.
Yeah, mulching machine.
A big mulching machine. They come in and, $600 a day, they'll clear
Yeah.
a lot. And I think $5,000 would more than clear the lot. It would give them additional monies to be able to buy swing sets and picnic tables and the likes, maybe even a cover.
I think that'd be beautiful.
Well, if I
Pardon
mean,
me?
we're obvious,
I think that'd be great.
yeah,
That
and
park has been long neglected.
yeah, and it's obviously legal. If we have the legal right to do so, this is everybody's community. It makes sense.
I've gotten this cleared through the grant administrator,
Great.
you know, the engineering firm.
I would like to, I mean, I personally would like to give you if possible, to discuss giving you the authority to go up to what we thought it was necessary to give the outfit that park in a way that would serve that community in the back. Whether that's cleaning, mulching, you know, getting some equipment for the park,
Well,
whatever that is. But
The other thing, Randy,
One of the pavilions.
yeah, something nice for that park, I think would be very nice for the back.
well,
the
you know,
back part
to
of the
that,
communities.
I'm sorry, but to that point, Randy had mentioned that people have been asking him for a boat ramp.
Yeah.
And
So can we give them 10, is that 10 grand? I mean, I don't know what the right number is, but is there a?
we can
is there
do
something-
whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
But as long as we can justify it. This is federal money.
There's $792,000 for land procurement in this grant.
Mhm.
The bottom line is that what we don't spend on purchasing land is gonna go
Back to roads.
Back to roads.
Yes.
So it's a win-win for the community. The mayor and I thought it would be nice if we didn't jeopardize that park, but added value to it.
I agree.
Now, whether that's right, and we have time to discuss this. We
They
don't have-
felt left out for a long time.
And we don't have to, they don't have a number, but they have to do 3 readings.
Mhm.
And once those 3 readings are done, then and they give us approval to, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, give us approval to purchase the property, then we can give them a number on what we want to pay them. And whatever number we come up with, but we just think it'd be the right thing to do, instead of giving them $1,000 for this park, giving them more so that this park is in better shape than what it is today.
Well, I'll agree with Councilman McWhorter. You know, if you need a motion to grant that authority for those numbers, I mean, let us know.
I'm asking for a motion to authorize an additional $5,000 for the purchase of the north side of 22nd Street, between 22nd Street's pavement and the parking lot of Camelot Park.
Also move.
Also second.
In favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. So you've seen that Camelot has been paved? Yay! The CDBG mitigation supplement, which is a $7.9 million grant, the city has begun to order culverts. We're beginning to start replacing culverts where necessary, starting with, we've got the projects numbered 1 through however many different locations there are. One of the ways we were able to save a great deal of money was by having the road crew do those installations. Gulf States is purchasing the culverts with grant money, and our guys are doing the actual installations. CD and I were talking about the installation of the culverts and making sure that LJA Engineering's inspector approves the installation prior to paving them, so that we don't have any settling of the culverts and then some issue with the warranty work later on if that starts dipping or settling further. In speaking with LJA today, we're getting close to the holidays. Texas Materials said that after Thanksgiving, most of their workers go to Mexico for whatever reason, going south for the winter. So it'll be after the first of the year before they start actually paving these various projects around the city. So on the $1.933 million roadway drainage improvement grant, we've received an email from GLO stating that we should expect a contract within the next 4 to 6 weeks. That's great news.
Nice.
And then, there's, the comprehensive plan, the $300,000. We've had a kickoff meeting with that, and we're beginning to, we got the information too late to be able to put it on the agenda for this evening. But there's a number of issues that we'll have to go over in council, giving me authorization to sign various documents. And then, 22nd Street. We had our pre-bid meeting, and we'll be receiving our bids on 11/30. That's the deadline. So we're moving forward with that as well.
How many bidders do we get or we expect?
Nobody showed up. So there was a it was a non-mandatory opening or pre-bid. The engineering companies and construction companies are all on this software program, Vivic or something like that, and they get downloads. LJA Engineering gets notifications whenever anybody opens it up and downloads it. If we don't get people to even no bid, we can at least use that information as they downloaded it and elected not to bid on it. We had that happen recently where we only got one bid. We had three contractors show up, and we got one bid. GLO wouldn't allow us to move forward with that, so we had to go out again and cast a broader net in public notices to be able to get other people to come in and bid on it. And in the process, we changed the material a little bit to try to get the roads paved further.
Yeah.
I spoke with Joe Blacksher about Ivanhoe Drive. So part of the 11 million, is it the 7.9? One of the 7.9 or the $11 million grant, one of the two is supposed to do the Ivanhoe Drive from the monuments to Chanticleer.
The 1.9 million.
The 1.9 million,
Yeah.
okay. And then we'll go as far as we can with the monies that we have, and then Joe Blacksher, our county commissioner, will pick up where we stop and go as far as he can towards Charmaine Drive East. And if he can, he'll turn right and go a little bit further down Charmaine Drive East towards Chanticleer. It'd be nice to be able to get Charmaine Drive East all the way from Chanticleer to Camelot, but I don't think we're gonna have the money for that. But that's about it for now. Municipal court activity. That's past due taxes. We had $3,929.30 collected last month through the police department or through the court system. The only other thing is that past due taxes that have been collected thus far are $10,529.46. And then, Mr. Zachary, do you have the police report?
Just a quick one. Filling in for Sergeant Lemons, who's out, sick right now.
Yes.
Gave me the numbers, which are, cost for service. We had 42 reports were made, 1 crash report was done, 21 citations issued, 15 warnings were issued, had a couple of arrests, 1 was a felony and 1 was a misdemeanor.
Very active.
Getting there.
Is this a direct result of the new hours that the police department's working?
I'm sorry?
Is this a result from the new hours that the police department's working now?
Yes, sir, I believe so. Yeah, we're just trying to start, you know, we'll get there.
I mean, I'm just asking, have you seen any difference since you started the new hours?
Steve didn't tell me anything about the
That-
difference in hours. Okay? Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
So David Marshall is missing this evening. So I've covered pretty much the roads as far as the grants are concerned, but we're still waiting on the results from the ground penetrating radar that was used on Charmaine Dam. Once we get that information, we'll have a better idea of what we have to do moving forward to make sure that the integrity of the dam remains high. I have come across a large pool of money that can be used for high hazard dams, of which we have 3. How is it categorized? There's extreme and then high?
This grant money?
Yes,
Mayor?
it's a pool of money. It's $185 million specifically for high hazard dams in the state of Texas. It comes from FEMA, and we've begun the investigation on putting together the information that we think they'll be looking for.
Mayor, TCEQ has categorized Galahad Dam as a small significant hazard dam. Tristan Dam is classified as a small high hazard dam, and Lake Charmaine Dam is classified as a small high hazard dam.
Small high hazard dam. So we've got engineers that are working on the verbiage to be able to see if we can move forward with justifying some of that grant money.
It's great.
Ms. Williams?
So one of the bigger problems here is there's a lot of people who want to move in and convert those sheds into storage, for the storage buildings into sheds. The P&Z has been working on trying to at least start with clearing up the language, exactly what it means to be a storage shed versus a storage shed that can be converted. It's in your council packets. Would you like to take a moment to read, or should I read?
Might want to read it for the benefit of the audience.
For the audience.
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
So, Ordinance 2312, it says, whereas the existing ordinance requires a succinct definition of storage building, and whereas the city council has found it to be in the best interest of the city of Ivanhoe residents to provide criteria wherein storage building may be converted safely to a habitable structure. We are going with the definitions of a storage building as 152.080. Storage building residential, a subordinate building in residence that is smaller than the residence, then that is either attached, detached, prefabricated, or built-in structure with or without utilities, originally designed to store miscellaneous equipment and materials and used secondarily to the main structure. Examples may include, but not limited to, the following: building for parked vehicles, tools or garden sheds, box storage, greenhouse, and workshop. Storage buildings may not be used for human habitation. And the wording will be changed to conversion of Code Ordinance of the City of Ivanhoe is hereby added to read as follows. Conversion of a storage building to a habitable structure. A storage building may be converted to a habitable structure only if all the following criteria have been met. The size of the building meets the minimum square footage as mandated by 152.110, 154.117, to 154.120, and 154.160. That is regarding to the 600 or 900 square feet for the minimums, depending on if you're on a lake view or if you're at lakeside.
Very good.
The conversion meets the next requirement would be conversion meets the designated and construction requirements of the International Residential Building Code for 1 and 2 dwelling and 2 family dwellings. C, the building is constructed on a slab or pre-installed pier and beam system. D, will be connected with approved plumbing lines to either well water or municipal water service, and TCEQ approved septic systems serving the same property. In includes to be installed a kitchen facilities to store and cook food, restroom facilities including toilet, lavatory, shower, and/or bathtub. That is what is actually legally defining it as a habitable place. F is conversion of the project has received valid construction permits from the city and will submit to any inspection as required by city ordinances. That is where our building inspector would come in and make sure that everything is legally up to par and safe for anybody to be able to move into. So, I think you printed it twice.
Seems like a lot of thought went into this.
There was a lot of thought and a lot of discussion because the Danskin buildings themselves, they're no longer barns type people that are opposed to. So aesthetically, they're becoming prettier. Their distance on the 2x4s are actually up to residential code in many ways. So just clearly defining them as a storage building is not
a bit
what many
limiting.
people are gonna be doing with them.
So it's more like a cabin or a cottage.
It's the beginning of a cabbage and a cottage, is the shell, and you put in your electrical, your drywall, your toilet, your sink, and kitchen, and it's actually a house. Studio apartment.
So the average one-bedroom apartment
is.
is 600 square feet.
It is, and it's usually several thousand, or about $1,000 to rent out that versus if you convert your own shed, you're like at $600 a month. So,
I prefer to call them cabins or cottages.
cottages.
Carolyn, I think I read this correctly. This is just an add-on structure. This is not for a new structure. This is an
This
add-on,
is
I mean, a standalone home. This is for an add-on to an existing
At this
structure.
point, this is for the add-on. We want to make sure that this is clearly defined of what they can convert, and then they're going to start addressing what exactly their actual house, original residence should end up being.
What about standoffs to property lines and stuff like that? Are there any of these codes that apply to the property
That's-
lines and so forth? I
that's
may not know
covered.
them, but I'm just curious.
That's okay. They are covered in section A, where it says the numbers of the square footage mandates in the codes. That also includes setbacks from the road for the fencing, the lines, everything else coming into the property, and
Okay.
other materials.
Can residents, if they already have a Durskin on site, are they allowed to, by this ordinance, would they be allowed to do that? Or is there something that says it has to be
That's
from
when-
such and such day, or is that what you're referencing will be taken up later?
At this point, they would have to begin by following the steps of going to City Hall, getting their first inspection to know that it is on the pier and beam or on the slab as needed, and then they would be able to begin the process of transforming it with our home inspector coming out and doing the inspections.
So like if they already have a shed on site, they can still do it with that as long as they follow the rules?
As long as they follow
Okay.
the rules.
I think shed has a bad connotation.
It does.
Very
I think-
limiting.
I think, yeah, storage
Structure.
building has a bad connotation. Some of these cottage shells more than meet the minimum standard.
And the international residential standard, because their 2x4s have to have a certain wind resistant, their roof has to have a certain, slope to it, so all of those are actually covered in making sure that it will be a habitable structure, whether you put your garden tools in there or whether you decide to build a house out of it.
Well, I can say, having been a general contractor in the past and having been in some of these buildings, they're pretty solid. That, take that for what it is.
Well, this isn't, this isn't taking a 16 by 20 and making it a habitat.
Right.
This is something that has to be a minimum of 600 square feet if it's off the lake.
Yes, it has to meet our square footage minimums, has to go through the inspectors. If there's any of the wording that you would like to add to this, let me know. Talk to me and see.
One other code that I'm not familiar with the codes, Carolyn, and I apologize for that. We had, like for portable buildings like a building like a mobile home or whatever, we have an age requirement that can't be older than a certain age. Is there anything that addresses that in any of these codes that are referenced here? As far as the age of the building, if they did have a building that was on there they're going to convert, is there anything that would apply to that in the code here?
As far as I know, nothing in the code, but it would fall back to the residential building standards to make sure that it could withstand certain weather conditions.
Okay.
So these would be buildings, not a portable or
Yeah, I
a
mean-
mobile home.
They would no longer be.
Yeah,
just-
they're built like it's built. The building standards of those are very similar to what a manufactured home or so forth is, though. They're built along a lot of the same ways as the manufactured homes with the flooring, supports, and so forth. So,
Yeah.
I own a home, one of these homes, so they're built into a home. So I was just curious.
At this point, this one is just addressing it as a secondary building on there that could be converted, and that as long as they follow the rules. It is being thought about later because I know that a lot of people may build the shell first and then actually build a larger home second, so that will be addressed in later meetings.
I make a motion we pass this ordinance.
Do you have a second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider for discussion, action, appointment or reappointment of the Appraisal District Board Member. Kathy Bennett has been on there for quite some time. Her term is up. I spoke to her. She said that she would be interested in continuing on. But I haven't had, I've asked one other person if they would be interested. I haven't had anybody, I don't have any idea of who would be interested or want to do this. CD doesn't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Does anybody have an idea what the amount of work it takes? I mean, just for the public. Do
I
we?
don't
I mean,
I don't have any idea.
do they meet twice a month, or they meet
I
once a
meet
month?
Once a month.
Unless there's a special call.
They,
So during appraisal season, it could be lots more, depending on how many people challenge.
The appraisal board sets policy and the staff fulfills that policy. So generally it's once a month.
so the chief appraiser reports both to the state and to the appraisal board.
Is there any obligation for us to open this up to the public or anybody to be able to, to volunteer or anything like that? I didn't know. I mean, no?
Nobody else
Okay.
interested?
What is our deadline on the appointment?
Her term is going to be up shortly if it's not already,
December 31st.
December 31st. So we've got a little bit of time if y'all would like to.
I think Kathy is great, is a great candidate. I mean, I just wanted the public to know whether there was any opportunity for people to say they'd like it or whatever. I didn't know if that was something we had to do or not.
We don't have to.
Okay.
We can't postpone it till next month.
We could.
I make a motion, we table it, or if that's something that needs a motion.
I second that until we can maybe research this a little more.
Okay. So do we need to,
Okay, let's see, the motion, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Williams, I think you're up with the financial report.
Okay, bear with me. We have a few things to go through. So the first thing as of today, which is November 16th, the Citizen State Bank is sitting at, the general fund currently has $44,265.38 in it. Our disaster recovery has $1,003.19. Our ARPA Act funds have $1,685.54. The CDBG 22nd Street has $1,034.35. Bond Construction Fund has $1,683.37. And our Hurricane Harvey reimbursement is $1,002.43. Yes, Citizen State Bank. Now text class, which is where our money is held. The general fund, as of, this was as of yesterday, the 15th. Beginning balance. here we go. Has $184,982.99, and the income earned on that account is $396.70. From the start date is November 1st to November 15th. So over a 2-week period, we earned $396.70 on that account. The bond fund, the balance on that at the beginning of the month was $368,698.50. The ending balance is $77,342.60. The income earned for the period is $422.07. The 2019 sinking is sitting at it started at $21,123.66. It is currently at $20,868.77, and it has earned an income of $45.11. The fund balance, the carryover, is $158,354.34. It has earned a carryover in the last 14 days of an interest of $340.32. Our coronavirus recovery fund is sitting at $171,847.68 and has earned $368.53 in the last 14 days. CDBG has $182.18, it started at $182.18. It has $182.61 in it. It has earned a whopping 43 cents. And our supplemental started at $137.77 and ended with $138.07, and it earned us 30 cents. All in all, our total earned income for this 2-week period was $1,573.46. And that's with our interest rate kind of fluctuating between 5.1 and 5.2. The average was 5.2247% on those.
Can't believe we're getting 5%.
Okay, and so on the ARPA 2024 budget, right now our expenses are, we had a TML insurance payment come out of it. It was not originally budgeted for it. That was the $30,976.80. We also had the appraisals come out of it. That was budgeted in the GLO match. But even with the TML insurance coming out, we will still have enough money. We will have just over enough money to cover all of those expenses plus the TML insurance that came out. So we're good on those, and that is as of October 31st. Get my fingers working. Okay, now to the treasurer's report. That was just the prelude. The financial documents, including the bank and the Texas class statements, were sent to the council earlier this week. The account and financial reports and reconciliation details for each account were emailed to council as soon as they arrived. The other items to report for the month are: the state comptroller direct deposited $7,288 on November 10th for the sales and use tax that was collected in September and reported to the comptroller in October. Last year on the same month, it was deposited $7,280. It's an $8 increase this year. Last month, the sales tax deposit was $6,927, and we ended the year, the fiscal year 23. The sales tax collection total was $85,712 compared to fiscal year 2022, ending with $81,774. So we're going in the right direction. Ad valorem taxes were received November 10th, totaling $10,526, with $8,766 going to maintenance and operations and $1,763 for the interest and sinking fund. The calculated balance of delinquent taxes stands at $304,383 as of October 31st, which is the aggregate amount from 2010 to present. The calculated balance of unpaid taxes, penalties, and interest for Ivanhoe North has remained pretty much stagnant at $5,301. I don't think that has changed in months and months. Pledged securities at Citizen State Bank total $189,479 above the $250,000 FDIC insurance, giving the city a cushion of $353,176 above our deposits. Our text class interest rate has continued relatively stable around 5.1 through most of the month. Like I said, it has fluctuated 5.1 to 5.2. The account monthly report for October arrived November 10th, and with some minor corrections for line items, as indicated on the budget comparison in the council packet, the totals for the various department budgets are correct. The bank statements are reconciled, and I am comfortable that the October financials can be approved.
Question,
Yes, sir.
and probably CD, you're gonna have to weigh in on this.
Probably.
When we did the budget, we budgeted $32,000 for AT&L insurance in the budget.
It didn't get put in that ARPA account, I mean, in that ARPA,
It wasn't
Budget.
put in the ARPA budget.
so that's why we just inserted it.
We put it in our operations maintenance budget.
In the general fund budget.
32,000 right here.
Okay.
We need to look at that one.
Yep.
I just, either the mayor and I missed it when we did that, and did take it out of ARPA, which would give us 32 more thousand in the general operations maintenance.
I remembered some of that discussion, and then I asked the mayor in regards to pulling it from ARPA, and that's what we went with. Now, that can be adjusted.
Yeah, I just wanna make that clarification, so we research that.
We can do that.
I'm just,
So we're really just about taking it out of the budget. It's just about taking that money out of a budget category since we spent it out of ARPA.
yeah, we can allocate those funds somewhere else if we need to be. If we pull out ARPA, then we have, in our budget, we have $32 more thousand
Yeah.
in that budget. Whichever way the mayor wants to go with it.
May want to think about the dams.
Somewhere
Yeah.
in there, I just wanna make, this just came to light when we started talking about it.
Yeah.
So we can keep a finger on all this.
Which is why we presented the ARPA funds budget where it stands as of the end of
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it because, it comes to light and we can make the right decision for the community. So we can make that note and figure out how we wanna handle this. Which plays right? You know, is it in the ARPA budget or we have it in our general funds budget? Because we got, under here, we got it reported there, so, how do we do it? Other than that, I make a motion to accept the financial.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. We skipped over item number 9. I'd like to consider for discussion the action of transferring the bond for the city treasurer duties from Mr. Woodrome to Haley Williams effective 12/31 or 12/1?
12/1.
Effective 12/1. Do I have a motion to,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Motion carries. Okay, now we're gonna adjourn for an executive session. We won't be long, I promise. Okay.
The boss has
Okay. We're back in session and have nothing further to report.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
Second, yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Boom.